Popcorn vendor feeds lost girl. Unknowingly the daughter of a powerful businessman. The afternoon was fading when David Johnson noticed something that tugged at his heart. A little girl, alone on the bench in the square, was crying with her tiny hands covering her face. Her sobs echoed amid the traffic noise and the chatter of passers-by who seemed oblivious to her presence. It was when she glanced toward the popcorn cart that it all began. David saw those red, tear-swollen eyes and couldn't pretend he hadn't noticed. The child was clearly lost and scared. "Hi, Princess," he said, approaching slowly so as not to startle her further. "Are you okay?" The girl in the light blue dress just shook her head. David felt a pang in his chest. He was a father too. He knew how a lost child might feel. "Want some popcorn?" "It's on the house," he offered, filling a small bag with still warm sweet popcorn. "My mum said not to take food from strangers," she murmured, but the delicious smell made her stomach growl. "Your mum's right. But hey, do you know Uncle David, the popcorn guy? All the kids in the square know me. Ask anyone here." David called over Mrs. Jenkins, who sold candy at the next stall. "Mrs. Jenny, tell this little princess if Uncle David's a good guy." "Oh, sweetheart, this boy here is pure gold, always helping everyone. You can take his popcorn," the woman said, smiling at the child. The girl hesitated but finally accepted the bag. David sat on the bench beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "What's your name?" "Emily," she replied, slowly chewing the popcorn. "Emily is a beautiful name. And where are your parents, Emily?" "I don't know." Her voice came out as a whisper. "I got lost." "Where were you before you came here?" "At home. But I ran out." Emily wiped her nose with the back of her hand. They were yelling really loud. David's heart clenched even tighter. How many times had he witnessed fights at home as a child when his parents argued about money that was never enough? "Do you remember your street name or any place near your home?" Emily shook her head. David scanned the square, looking for someone searching for a child, but saw no one in distress. "Okay, don't worry. We'll figure out where you live. In the meantime, want to help me sell popcorn? You can be my assistant." Emily's eyes lit up for the first time. She stood up and walked over to the colorful cart. "How do you make popcorn?" she asked, curious. "First, we put the kernels in the pan with a little oil. Then we wait for them to pop. The trick is to keep stirring so they don't burn." David showed her each step, and Emily watched intently, momentarily forgetting her sadness. When a customer approached, she hid behind the cart. "Mrs. Williams, do you recognize this girl?" David asked a long-time customer. "Never seen her around here." "Pretty little thing, isn't she? Seems well-mannered." And she truly was. David noticed how Emily spoke, using words uncommon for a child her age. There was something different about her, something that hinted she came from a well-off family. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers a lot. Now back to the story. The sun was setting when David decided to close the cart. Emily had helped serve a few customers, shy but smiling whenever someone praised her. "Emily, I need to take my cart home. Do you want to come with me? I can call your family from there." "I don't remember the number," she said, her sadness returning. "That's okay. My mom will love meeting you, and tomorrow we'll keep looking for your parents, okay?" Emily nodded. David pushed the cart through the neighborhood streets, and she walked beside him, holding onto the edge so she wouldn't lose him too. David's house was on a simple street, with small homes side by side and tight backyards, but everything was very clean and tidy. When he opened the gate, he called out, "Mom, I brought a special guest." Mrs. Thompson appeared at the door, wiping her hands on her apron. She was a 62-year-old woman with graying hair tied in a bun and kind eyes that lit up when she saw Emily. "Good heavens, whose beautiful child is this?" "Mom, this is Emily. She got lost at the square. I'm going to try to find her family." Mrs. Thompson knelt to Emily's level, and the girl immediately felt comforted by the woman's warmth. "Hello, sweetheart. Are you hungry? I just made some bean soup." "You're very kind," Emily replied, and Mrs. Thompson was surprised by how politely she spoke. "Such good manners this girl has. Come inside, dear. You're safe here." The house was small but cozy. In the living room, there was an old but clean sofa, a small television, and some plants that Mrs. Thompson lovingly cared for. Emily observed everything with curiosity, not judging, just taking in this unfamiliar environment. "David, call the radio station. See if anyone's looking for her." "Mrs." Thompson suggested as she served Emily a plate of food. "I already thought of that, Mum, but it's better to wait. She said she ran away because her parents were fighting. Maybe it's best to let things calm down." Emily ate slowly, savoring every bite. Mrs. Thompson noticed she had good table manners. She knew how to use her utensils properly and didn't talk with her mouth full. "How old are you, sweetheart?" "7. "And what do you like to do?" "I like to read and draw, but at home I mostly stay in my room." "Alone?" Mrs. Thompson asked, her heart aching. "Yeah, Daddy works a lot and Mommy is always on the phone or watching TV." David and Mrs. Thompson exchanged meaningful looks. It was becoming clearer that Emily came from a wealthy family, but perhaps didn't get the attention she deserved. "Emily, would you like to take a bath? I have a nightgown that should fit you," Mrs. Thompson offered. "Really? I don't want to be any trouble." "No trouble at all, dear. David, go get that pink nightgown you used to wear when you were little." David laughed. "Mom, don't tell her I wore a pink nightgown." Emily smiled for the first time since David had found her, a bright smile that completely transformed her little face. After her bath, Emily sat on the couch between David and Mrs. Thompson to watch TV. It was a simple moment, but she seemed to be experiencing something new and special. "Uncle David, why do you sell popcorn?" "Because I like seeing people happy. When someone eats my popcorn and smiles, it makes me happy too." "But it's not an important job, is it?" David was surprised by the question. "Who said it's not important? My dad always says there are important jobs and other jobs." "Emily, every honest job is important. If I didn't sell popcorn, the kids at the square wouldn't have a tasty snack to buy. If the garbage man didn't collect the trash, the city would be dirty. Everyone matters." Emily processed those words seriously. It was a conversation she'd never had at home. "I think you're important," she said, snuggling closer to him. Mrs. Thompson felt her eyes well up. It had been so long since she'd seen her son so affectionate with a child. Ever since his ex-wife had taken his grandson away, David hadn't been the same. "Emily, you'll sleep in David's room." "He can sleep here on the sofa," said Mrs. Thompson. "No need. I can sleep on the sofa," protested Emily. "Absolutely not. Guests sleep in the best spot in the house," said David, getting up to prepare the room. When Emily was already in bed, Mrs. Thompson came to say goodnight. "My dear, tomorrow we'll find your parents, okay? But until then, you're at home." "Mrs. Thompson," Emily called out as the woman was about to leave. "Yes, sweetheart." "Are you and Uncle David really good people?" Mrs. Thompson turned back and sat on the edge of the bed. "Why do you ask that?" "Because I've never met people who took care of me without needing to." Mrs. Thompson's heart broke at those words. "My love, there are many good people in the world, and you deserve to be cared for and loved, always." Emily smiled and closed her eyes. For the first time in a long while, she slept peacefully. The next morning, David woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of laughter coming from the kitchen. When he went to check, he found Emily helping Mrs. Thompson make breakfast. "Uncle David, Mrs. Thompson taught me how to make cinnamon toast." "Oh yeah, how did it turn out?" "Delicious, try it." David took a bite of the sugar-toasted bread Emily had prepared and exaggerated his reaction. This is amazing. You're going to be a chef." Emily laughed happily. She was clearly more at ease. "David," Mrs. Thompson said quietly, "turn on the TV. There might be news about her." David switched to the local news. It didn't take long for a report to appear that made his blood run cold. "Businessman offers reward for missing daughter," read the headline, and there was Emily's photo, smiling in what looked like a professional studio portrait. "Emily," David called, trying to keep his voice calm. Come here for a second." When she approached the TV, her expression changed completely. "That's my dad," she said, but without joy. In fact, she looked scared. On the screen, a man in an expensive suit spoke to reporters in front of a grand mansion. "My daughter Emily disappeared yesterday afternoon. Any information, please contact me. I'm offering a reward of $100,000 for her safe return." David's legs felt weak. $100,000 was more money than he'd ever seen in his life. "Emily, why weren't you happy to see your dad?" "Because now I'll have to go back," she said, her eyes welling up. "And there, they don't play with me like you do." "But sweetheart, they're worried. Look how sad your dad is." "He's not sad, Uncle David. He's angry. I know that look." Mrs. Thompson turned off the TV and knelt in front of Emily. "My love, no matter what, your parents love you. Sometimes adults don't know how to show love the right way, but they care about you." "If they cared, they wouldn't fight so much in front of me," Emily retorted, with a maturity far beyond her 7 years. David was torn. He knew he had to return Emily to her parents, but he also saw how happy she was here. He decided that before taking her back, he'd talk to them to understand the situation better. "Emily, I'm going to your parents' house to talk to them. You stay here with Mrs. Thompson, okay? Will they be mad at you?" "I don't know, Princess, but I need to explain that you're safe and sound." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. David looked up the address online and headed to the upscale neighborhood. He'd never set foot in that part of town, where the houses looked like palaces and the walls were too high to see the street. When he arrived in front of Emily's parents' mansion, he felt small. The gate was imposing, with security cameras and an intercom. He took a deep breath and rang the bell. "Good morning, I'd like to speak with Mr. Richard Anderson," he said into the intercom. "Who's speaking?" replied a sharp voice. "My name is David Johnson. It's about his daughter, Emily." There was silence, then the sound of the gate opening. David walked down a tree-lined path until he reached the main entrance of the house. A security guard waited for him. "ID," the man demanded rudely. David showed his ID and was frisked like a criminal. It already irritated him, but he thought of Emily and held his temper. He was led to a luxurious waiting room with leather armchairs and expensive paintings on the walls. After 20 minutes of waiting, a woman in a tailored suit, high heels, and an unfriendly expression appeared. "Are you the one who claims to know about Emily?" "Yes, ma'am, I'm David." "And where is she? Do you want the reward?" The woman's direct and cold tone made David uncomfortable. "No, ma'am, I don't want any money. I just want to return the girl safely to her parents." "Then where is she?" "She's at my house with my mother. She's fine, fed, and unharmed." "Your house?" The woman looked him up and down, clearly judging his simple clothes. "And why didn't you bring her right away?" "Because she was scared. She said she ran away because you were fighting." "That's none of your business." The woman's voice rose sharply. "You'll go get that girl right now and bring her here, or I'll call the police." "Ma'am, I just wanted to talk to her parents to understand." "I am her mother, and you have no right to keep my daughter a minute longer." At that moment, a tall man in an impeccable suit, but with deep bags under his eyes, entered the room. It was Richard Anderson, Emily's father. "What's going on here, Jennifer?" "This man says he has our daughter but won't hand her over. He's obviously after more money." Richard looked at David suspiciously. "Is it true? Do you have my daughter?" "Yes, sir. She's safe. I found her crying in Central Square yesterday afternoon." "And why didn't you bring her back yesterday?" "Because she was too scared and said she didn't want to come back. I thought it'd be better to talk to you first." "Scared of what?" Richard asked, but David noticed a defensive tone in his voice. "She said you were fighting loudly about money." Jennifer and Richard exchanged a quick glance. "Our personal problems are none of your concern," Jennifer said coldly. "You're right, Mum, but Emily is a 7-year-old child who felt safe with me and my mother. That must mean something." "It means you and your mother took advantage of an innocent child," Jennifer accused. David felt anger rising, but kept his composure. "Ma'am, if I wanted to take advantage, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be taking the $100,000 and disappearing. Richard seemed to consider this. Where exactly did you find her? In Central Square, sitting on a bench, crying. I offered her popcorn and asked if she was lost. Popcorn? Jennifer asked, as if it were disgusting. I have a popcorn cart in the square. Oh, I see. You saw an opportunity and took it, huh? Jennifer said disdainfully. Jennifer, Richard scolded, let the man speak. Mr. Anderson, your daughter spent the night at my house. My mother took care of her, gave her a bath, made her food. Emily helped make popcorn, watched TV with us, slept in a clean bed. She was happy. And you're implying she isn't happy here? Jennifer asked, offended. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying she was reluctant to come back. Where is she now? Richard asked. At my house, with my mother. Then let's go get her now, Richard said, already standing. Wait a minute, said David. Can I ask a question? Go ahead. When was the last time you played with Emily? The question caught Richard by surprise. He hesitated before answering. I work a lot. I provide for the family. And you? David turned to Jennifer. I have my social obligations. Emily has a nanny, private tutors, the best of everything. But when was the last time you sat on the floor to play with her? Jennifer flushed with anger. Who do you think you are to question me? I'm her mother. And does she know that? David's question was like a bomb. Richard raised his hand to stop Jennifer from continuing the argument. Let's go get my daughter. You'll take us to her. The drive to David's house was tense. Richard drove an imported car, and Jennifer complained about the neighborhood as soon as they left the upscale area. My God, what kind of place is this? Emily slept here? It's a neighborhood of hard-working, honest people, David replied from the back seat. When they reached David Street, several people came out to see the luxury car. It was an unheard-of event around there. Here we are, said David, pointing to the modest house. Richard and Jennifer eyed the small home with suspicion. It was clean, but very small and old compared to what they were used to. As David opened the gate, they heard laughter coming from the backyard. Emily was helping Grandma Thompson hang laundry on the clothesline. Emily! Shouted Richard. The girl turned, and upon seeing her parents, her expression changed completely. The smile vanished from her face. Daddy? How did you find me? Emily, come here right now, ordered Jennifer. The girl looked at Grandma Thompson as if asking for permission. The woman smiled sadly and motioned for her to go. Emily walked slowly toward her parents, but didn't run to hug them as one might expect. Emily, are you okay? Asked Richard, kneeling to her level. I'm fine, Daddy. You weren't hurt? No one mistreated you? No, Daddy. Uncle David and Grandma Thompson took really good care of me. Jennifer scrutinized her daughter from head to toe, checking if she was truly all right. What kind of clothes are you wearing? Grandma Thompson lent them to me. My clothes were dirty. Where are your clothes? Washing in the tub, replied Grandma Thompson, stepping forward. Good morning. I'm Thompson, David's mother. Richard stood and extended his hand. Richard Anderson, thank you so much for looking after my daughter. No need to thank me. It was a pleasure. She's a very polite and sweet girl. Of course she is. She's had the best education money can buy, said Jennifer proudly. I'm not talking about school education, said Grandma Thompson kindly. I'm talking about the education of the heart. Jennifer didn't understand the remark, but Richard seemed to reflect on it. Emily, get your things. We're going home, said Jennifer. Can I say goodbye to Uncle David? Of course, sweetheart, said Richard. Emily ran to David and hugged him tightly. Thank you for taking care of me, Uncle David. It was my pleasure, Princess. If you ever need anything, I'll always be at the square. Can I come visit you? Before David could answer, Jennifer interrupted. Emily, you won't be leaving the house alone anymore, and you certainly won't be coming here. But Mom, no discussion. Emily ran to hug Grandma Thompson too. Thank you for teaching me how to make cinnamon toast, Grandma Thompson. Grandma Thompson felt her eyes well up. Anytime, my love, you'll always be welcome here. Richard took out his wallet. How much do I owe you for taking care of my daughter? Nothing, David replied quickly. What do you mean, nothing? She must have been trouble, ate here, slept here. She was no trouble at all. On the contrary, she brought joy to our home. But I insist on paying something. You owe me nothing. Doing good is priceless. Richard was left speechless. He was used to solving everything with money. Then at least accept the reward I offered. I can't accept it, sir. I didn't do it for money. But why not? Because if I take your money, I'd be agreeing that I only helped Emily out of self-interest, and that's not what happened. Jennifer rolled her eyes, but Richard seemed impressed by the answer. Emily, let's go, said Jennifer, impatient. The girl waved sadly at David and Mrs. Thompson and got into the car. David noticed she didn't seem happy to leave. After the car drove off, Mrs. Thompson sighed. Poor girl, going back to a wealthy home but without love. Mom, we can't judge. Maybe they just don't know how to show affection. David, I raised you alone, working as a maid, and you never lacked love. Money can't buy what that girl needs most. David knew his mother was right. In the few hours Emily had spent with them, she had experienced something she apparently didn't have at home: genuine attention and selfless care. In the days that followed, David couldn't stop thinking about the girl. Every time a child approached the popcorn cart, he remembered Emily's smile when she helped him serve popcorn. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing, a week later David was serving popcorn in Central Square when he noticed a well-dressed man buying a newspaper at a nearby stand. He kept glancing discreetly toward the cart, but didn't approach. The next day, the same man appeared again. This time he bought popcorn. Good afternoon. I'd like a bag of sweet popcorn, he said, his voice familiar. David recognized him immediately. It was Richard Anderson, but dressed casually, wearing a cap and sunglasses. Of course, sir. Extra sugar? No, this is fine. Richard paid for the popcorn and left, but David noticed he only ate a few pieces before tossing the rest away. It was obvious he hadn't come for the popcorn. On the third day, Richard appeared again. This time, David decided to confront him. Mr. Anderson, can I help you with something? Richard was startled at being recognized. You know who I am? Yes, sir. You've been coming here for 3 days. Is something wrong with Emily? Richard hesitated before answering. She's not doing well. David's heart raced. What do you mean? Is she sick? Not physically. But since she came home, she barely speaks, doesn't eat properly, locks herself in her room. Did she say anything? Only asks when she can see you and your mother again. David felt a mix of sadness and joy, sadness that Emily was suffering, joy that she missed them. And what did you tell her? That she can't. Richard lowered his head. My wife thinks you're a bad influence. A bad influence? David was indignant. You saw how happy your daughter was in my home. I did, and that's why I'm here. Richard glanced around, making sure no one was listening. Can I be honest with you? Of course. I don't know how to be a real father, he confessed in a whisper. I know how to provide, how to give her the best of everything, but not how to play, talk, be present. David was surprised by Richard's honesty. You can learn. How? My father was the same with me. Distant, always working. I grew up thinking a father is just the one who pays the bills. A father is the one who's there, Mr. Anderson. The one who listens, who plays, who holds them when they need it. Do you have children? A grandson, but my ex-daughter-in-law won't let me see him. David felt a pang of pain at the memory. That's why I understand a little of how Emily feels. The two men fell silent for a moment. Can I ask you a favor? Asked Richard. It depends on what it is. Could you teach my daughter how to make popcorn? David smiled. Of course, but she'd have to come here. I can't bring her. My wife would be furious. Then you can learn and teach her at home. Richard seemed to consider the idea. Would you sell popcorn to me? Popcorn kernels, I mean. Yes, I sell them. but you'll need more than just kernels. What else? Patience, affection, and the willingness to see your daughter smile. Richard smiled for the first time since David had met him. I have that. Then let's begin. David spent the next hour teaching Richard how to make popcorn. He showed him how to adjust the heat, when to add the kernels, how to season them. Richard paid attention to every detail as if he were learning something crucial for his life. The most important part, said David, is to do it with love. Emily will feel the difference. How do you know so much about children? My mother taught me. She always said children need 3 things: food, affection, and attention. The rest is a luxury. Your mother sounds like a special person. She is. She raised 3 kids alone, working as a housekeeper. Money was always tight, but love was never lacking. Richard reflected on that. He had all the money in the world, but was he giving Emily enough love? Can I ask another question? Go ahead. How do you get Emily to like you so much? I listen to her. I ask what she thinks, how she feels. I treat her like an important person. But she's a child. Children are people too. They have feelings, opinions, fears, dreams. Emily is very smart. She just needs someone to believe in her. At home, she barely speaks. Maybe because no one asks what she has to say. Richard grew thoughtful. It was true. He came home tired, ate dinner while watching the news and went to bed. Jennifer stayed on the phone or watched her shows. When they spoke to Emily, it was usually to give orders or complain. Would you take some money to teach me how to be a better father? Mr. Richard, that's not something money can teach. It comes from the heart. But I want to repay you somehow. Then be a present father for Emily. That'll be the best repayment. Richard bought popcorn kernels and all the necessary ingredients. He promised to try making popcorn with Emily over the weekend. One last thing, said David. When you're making popcorn together, turn off your phone. Give her your full attention. I promise. Richard left with a bag full of ingredients and a heart full of hope. On Saturday, Richard woke up early and went to the kitchen. He'd never cooked anything in his life, but he was determined to try. Daddy, what are you doing? Emily appeared in the kitchen, curious. Good morning, sweetheart. I'm learning how to make popcorn. Popcorn? Emily's eyes lit up. Like Uncle David makes. Exactly like that. Want to help me? Emily ran to grab a stool to reach the stove. First, we heat the pan, said Richard, repeating David's instructions. Daddy, do you know how to make popcorn? No, but I learned from Uncle David so I could make it with you. Really? You talked to Uncle David? I did. He taught me with a lot of care. Emily was moved. Her father had gone to the trouble of learning something just to do with her. Now add the oil. Emily guided him, remembering the steps David had taught. You remember? I remember everything. Uncle David said making popcorn is an art. Father and daughter worked together, laughing when some kernels jumped out of the pan, celebrating when they made the first perfect batch. Daddy, can I tell you something? Of course, sweetheart. I like it when you spend time with me like this. Like what? Not in a hurry, no phone, just playing with me. Richard felt his heart tighten. When had he become so distant from his own daughter? Emily, Daddy promises we'll do more things together. Do you really promise? I promise. At that moment, Jennifer walked into the kitchen and came across the scene. Her husband and daughter covered in flour, laughing and eating popcorn. What's going on here? Mommy, look, Daddy and I made popcorn. Richard, have you lost your mind? The kitchen is a mess. Jennifer, I'm making popcorn with our daughter, and she's having fun. But that's the maid's job. You don't need to do this. Yes, I do. I need to be present in Emily's life. Present? Aren't you present when you pay for private school, tutors and classes? That's providing, Jennifer. It's not being present. The argument began to grow tense and Emily hid behind her father. Mommy, don't yell at Daddy. He was just playing with me. Emily, go to your room. The adults are talking. No, Richard said firmly. Emily can stay. She's part of this family too. Jennifer was surprised. Richard had never confronted her in front of their daughter. Jennifer, We need to talk about how we're raising our daughter. What's wrong? She has everything. She has everything except our attention. Be serious, Richard. She has a nanny, she has tutors, but she doesn't have present parents. I am present. When was the last time you played with her? Asked how her day at school was. Jennifer didn't know how to respond. Emily, Richard said, go to your room, please. Daddy and Mommy need to talk. Okay, Daddy. The popcorn was yummy, Emily said, kissing her father's cheek before leaving. When they were alone, Richard looked seriously at his wife. Jennifer, our daughter ran away from home. A 7-year-old preferred staying with strangers over staying with us. Doesn't that worry you? Of course it worries me. That's why she can't go out alone anymore. The problem isn't her going out alone. The problem is what she's running from inside this house. And what is she running from? From parents who fight in front of her, who don't pay attention, who treat her like an accessory to the perfect life we want to appear to have. Jennifer fell silent for a moment. Are you saying I'm a bad mother? No, Jennifer. I'm saying we can be better parents. How? By working less, making less money? By working with more purpose. Emily doesn't need more money. She needs more love. I love my daughter. I know you do. But do you show it to her? Jennifer began to reflect. It was true she was always busy with her social activities, her friends, her shows. When Emily tried to talk to her, she usually told her to go find the nanny. Richard, I don't know how to be different. We can learn together. What if she prefers those people from the slum? Jennifer, they don't live in a slum. They live in a simple house, but it's full of love. And if Emily prefers being there, maybe it's time we ask ourselves why. That afternoon, Richard had a long talk with Emily. He asked about her dreams, her fears, what she liked at school, what her favorite toys were. He discovered things about his own daughter he hadn't known. Daddy, can I ask you something? Of course, sweetheart. Why do you and Mommy fight so much? Richard was taken aback by the direct question. Sometimes adults get stressed with work and end up arguing. But do you fight about me too? What do you mean? I hear things. Mommy says I'm a handful, that I'm stubborn. You say she's too lenient with me. Richard felt his heart break. Emily heard and understood more than they realized. Emily, you're not a handful at all. And if Daddy and Mommy argue about parenting, it's because we want what's best for you. But it's better when you don't fight. You're right. Daddy promises he'll try not to fight in front of you anymore. And not fight even when I'm not looking too. Richard smiled at his daughter's cleverness. We'll try to solve our differences by talking, not fighting. Like Uncle David and Grandma Thompson do. How do you know they don't fight? Because they talk quietly when they want to solve something. And afterward, they always hug. Richard was impressed by Emily's observation skills. That night, he talked to Jennifer about changes they could make in their family routine. Fewer social commitments, more time at home, less TV, more conversations, less rushing, more presence. The following week, Richard showed up again at David's popcorn cart. How was the popcorn? David asked. It was wonderful. Emily was thrilled. We made it together, ate together, talked a lot. That's great. And how is she doing? Better. More talkative, more affectionate, but she still asks about you. Every day. David missed the little girl too. Mr. Richard, can I suggest something? Of course. Why not bring Emily to the square once in a while? You don't have to come to our house if Mrs. Jennifer doesn't want to, but she can buy popcorn and talk with us. You'd do that, even after how my wife treated you. We'd do it for love of Emily. She's a special child. All right, I'll bring her here on Saturday. Deal. On Saturday, Richard arrived at the square with Emily. The girl ran when she saw David. Uncle David, she shouted, throwing herself into his arms. Princess, how are you? Good. Daddy learned to make popcorn with me. Really? How did it turn out? Yummy, but not as good as yours. David laughed and served fresh popcorn to Emily. Didn't Grandma Thompson come? She asked, looking around. No, sweetheart, she's at home, but she sent you a kiss. Can I go visit her? Emily, Richard interjected. Today we're just staying at the square. Okay, Daddy. Richard bought popcorn too and sat on the bench with his daughter. It was a scene becoming familiar, father and daughter eating popcorn together, talking peacefully. Uncle David, Emily said, Daddy's being really nice to me. Yesterday we watched cartoons together. How nice, what did you watch? Frozen. Daddy said he likes the music too. Richard smiled sheepishly. Actually, I fell asleep in the middle of the movie. But you tried, David said. That's what matters. They spent the whole afternoon at the square. Emily helped David serve some customers, always under Richard's watch. It was as if she was making up for missing an activity that made her happy. When it was time to leave, Emily hugged David tightly. Can I come back next week? If your dad brings you, of course. Daddy, can I? We can arrange to come once in a while, Richard said. On the way home, Emily was radiant. Daddy, thank you for taking me to see Uncle David. You're welcome, sweetheart. I saw how happy you were. Did you like being at the square too? I did. It's a peaceful place. And Uncle David is nice, right? Yes, he is. He's a good person. When they got home, Jennifer was waiting with a frown. Where were you? At the square, Richard answered. Doing what? Buying popcorn and talking. Richard, you took our daughter to that place again? I did. And she was happy. This is outrageous. I won't allow it. Jennifer, let's talk in the bedroom. Emily ran to her room, not wanting to witness another fight between her parents. Richard, you're losing your mind. Our daughter can't be around those people. Those people have names, Jennifer, and they're better than many in our social circle. How can you say that? Because they cared for our daughter without wanting anything in return, because they made her truly smile, because they taught us what selfless love is. That's ridiculous. What's ridiculous is our 7-year-old daughter running away because she didn't feel loved here. She is loved. Then why was she so happy there? Jennifer had no answer. Jennifer, our marriage is in crisis. Our relationship with Emily is in crisis. Either we change or we'll lose everything. Change how? By being present, by being a real family. Jennifer sat on the bed, finally reflecting on everything that was happening. Richard, I'm scared. Scared of what? Of not knowing how to be a real mother, of Emily preferring other people. Jennifer, being a mother is something you learn every day. No one is born knowing, but we have to try. What if we can't? We will. Together. That night, Jennifer went to Emily's room. The girl was already in bed, but still awake. Mum? Emily was surprised by the visit. Hi, sweetheart, can I sit on your bed? Sure. Jennifer sat down, and for the first time in a long while, really looked at her daughter. Emily, are you happy? What do you mean, Mum? Here at home. Are you happy here with Dad and me? Emily hesitated before answering. Sometimes. And when you're not happy? When you fight? When you're too busy to play with me? Jennifer felt her eyes well up. Mum, are you crying? I am. Mommy is sad because she realized she hasn't been a good mother. You are a good mother. No, sweetheart. A good mother doesn't let her daughter feel alone. Emily moved closer and hugged her mom. Mommy, I love you. I love you too, Emily, more than anything in the world. Then why are you always busy? Because Mommy didn't know you wanted to be with me. I thought you preferred playing alone or with the nanny. I want to be with you and Dad. Then we'll change that. Mommy promises she'll spend more time with you. Promise? Promise. Emily smiled and snuggled deeper into her mother's embrace. Mom, can I ask for something? Of course. Can I still visit Uncle David and Grandma Thompson sometimes? Jennifer hesitated. Her pride still resisted the idea. Why do you like them so much? Because they listen to me. They ask what I think, how I feel. They make me feel important. Emily's words were like a dagger to Jennifer's heart. Emily, Mommy promises she'll listen to you more too. She'll ask how you feel. Really? Really? And about Uncle David? We'll see, okay? Emily smiled. It was a start. In the following weeks, the Anderson family's routine changed drastically. Richard started working fewer hours and being more present at home. Jennifer cancelled several social commitments to spend time with Emily. They established family rituals: breakfast together on Saturdays, family movie nights on Sundays, and every Tuesday was popcorn day, when father and daughter made popcorn together. Emily flourished with this attention. She smiled again, talked more, and showed affection for her parents, but she still asked to visit David and Mrs. Thompson. One day, Richard made a decision. He showed up at David's popcorn cart with an unusual proposal. "David, can I talk to you?" "Of course, Mr. Anderson. Emily won't stop talking about you, and I realized you were key in helping our family restructure. I'm glad to hear that. I'd like to invite you and your mother to dinner at our house." David was surprised. "Mr. Anderson, I'm not sure that's a good idea. Your wife..." Jennifer agreed. Actually, it was her idea. "Really?" "She wants to get to know the people who took such good care of our daughter." "I don't know, Mr. Anderson. We're very simple people, and that's exactly why we want to know you better. You taught us that simplicity and love are worth more than any wealth." David was moved by the invitation. "I'll talk to my mother. I hope they accept. Emily would be so happy." When David told Mrs. Thompson about the invitation, she was surprised. "Son, I don't think we should go. We're from very different worlds." "Mom, they've changed. Mr. Richard is being a better father now, and even Mrs. Jennifer is trying. What if they want to humiliate us?" "They won't, Mom. I feel they're sincere." "And what will we wear? We don't have fancy clothes for a rich person's house." "Mom, we'll go in clean clothes and with open hearts. That's what matters." Mrs. Thompson ended up agreeing, more out of a desire to see Emily again than anything else. On the scheduled Saturday, Richard went to pick up David and Mrs. Thompson. When they arrived at the mansion, Emily ran to hug them. "Grandma Thompson," she shouted, throwing herself into the woman's arms. "My sweet granddaughter," Mrs. Thompson said, moved. Jennifer was nervous but made an effort to be cordial. "Mrs. Thompson, welcome to our home." "Thank you, Mrs. Jennifer. Your house is very beautiful." "Thank you. Would you like something to drink?" "A little coffee would be lovely," Mrs. Thompson said. During dinner, there were a few awkward moments, but Emily served as a bridge between the two worlds. She told stories about the days she spent at David's house, showed what she'd learned about making popcorn, and shared how happy she was to have two dads who cared for her. "Mrs. Thompson," Jennifer said during dessert, "I wanted to apologize for how I treated you when you brought Emily back." "No need to apologize, dear. You were worried about your little girl. Any mother would have done the same. But I was rude and prejudiced. What matters is that now we're all Emily's family." Mrs. Thompson's words broke down the last of Jennifer's barriers. "You're right. Emily has gained a bigger family." "And so have we," Richard said. "You've taught us things no amount of money can buy." "Like what?" David asked. "That love is shown through presence, not presents. That time is the most valuable gift we can give. That being family means being together in the little everyday things." "You always knew that," Mrs. Thompson said. "You just forgot for a while." "And if Emily hadn't run away, maybe we never would have remembered," Jennifer admitted. "Maybe she ran away exactly to teach us that," Richard said. Emily, who had been listening to everything, smiled proudly. "I didn't run away," she said. "I went looking for a family who would play with me, and I ended up finding two." Everyone laughed at Emily's childlike wisdom. From that night on, the two families began meeting regularly. Richard hired David as an informal consultant for his company, asking for advice on how to humanize the workplace. Jennifer asked Mrs. Thompson to teach her homemade recipes and tips on raising children with love. Emily split her time between private school and afternoons at Central Square, helping David. She learned she could be rich and humble at the same time, that she could have two different but equally loving families. David, in turn, fulfilled an old dream. With Richard's help, he opened a small snack shop near the square, but kept the popcorn cart as a symbol of where it all began. Mrs. Thompson started looking after Emily when the parents traveled for work, and the girl affectionately called her grandma. Jennifer discovered that sharing her love for Emily didn't diminish her role as a mother, but enriched her daughter's life. A year after their meeting at the square, the two families threw an unforgettable birthday party for Emily, half at the mansion with elegant decorations and half at the square with popcorn for all the neighborhood kids. "Uncle David," Emily said as she helped hand out popcorn to her friends, "thank you for finding me that day. Thank you, Princess, for teaching me that love multiplied becomes family. And thank you for teaching my dad how to make popcorn. Why is that so important to you? Because now I know he truly loves me. He learned something new just to do it with me." David smiled, understanding that this special child had been the instrument to unite not just two families, but two completely different worlds. Richard approached with Jennifer and Mrs. Thompson. "David, I'd like to propose a toast." "A toast to what?" "To Emily, who taught us that family isn't about sharing the same blood but the same love." Everyone raised their soda glasses, and Emily her little juice cup, to toast. "To family," they all said together. Emily smiled, seeing her real parents and her heart parents united by the same feeling. She had discovered she didn't have to choose between two kinds of love. She could have both and be even happier. Central Square filled with laughter, and the smell of popcorn spread through the air like a fragrance of happiness. The popcorn vendor, who had fed a lost girl without knowing she was a businessman's daughter, eventually learned that true wealth isn't in banks but in the bonds formed when you reach out to those in need. And Emily, she never got lost again, because now she knew exactly where her home was, in the hearts of everyone who truly loved her. The end. Now tell me what you thought of this story of perseverance and love. Do you believe families can transform when they open themselves to true love? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories.